Hi everybody, good morning. Well, it's early in the morning here where I am. Uh, I woke up too early because I couldn't sleep. This video has been overdue for a long time. I made notes about what I want to talk about. I even posted on my YouTube channel and my Reddit profile that I'm about to make this video. As you can see, the notes got soiled even with chocolate syrup. So it's been a while, but I couldn't get to it because there are some things ongoing at my end, and I had to. I'm in the process of trying to resolve those things. I don't want to get into a rant or whine about anything, but that's what's happening at my end. Now, let's talk about the Swiss tools, shall we? And their new accessories. This video is not going to have a review of all the tools within the Swiss tool, because there are many videos by people who are better than me, as well as those that are not so good. On YouTube, you can look them up. Many of them are better than me because they use it in their profession. There are people like Ben from Texas Tool Crib, who's very good with his tool reviews, I think, for the most part, especially because he uses those tools as a part of his work, and I think that's an excellent source of feedback. There's another person I've started listening to recently. That's a person with whose channel's name is The Engineer's Perspective, and I think he's good too. So you can look up their videos and you will hear and understand more. In this video, what I'm going to do is talk about these new accessories that we have for Swiss tools, these clips, and what I've found about them, and some quality changes that I've seen that the Swiss tools have. These quality changes, some are for the better, others are things that need to get better, and they are fixing it. I've spoken to them. It looks like they are fixing it. So let's go through this list, and I'll tell you. So I have good news and bad news for the Swiss tool, and then good news and bad news for the Swiss tool Spirit. Bad news isn't so bad, it's just a thing that we need to make note of. These are some changes that have come about, some new features and accessories and things like that. You'll see in a minute. Okay, let's take the Swiss tool. Now, some good news about this. This pocket clip is absolutely brilliant. Usually, if you modify a product or you add something to a product that was not designed for that, I don't think it was, I'm not sure, you'll usually not do a good job of it. But the Swiss or people at Victorinox have gone and done a bloody excellent job. Highly recommended. Take it for many different reasons. It's tight. You don't feel it in your hand. I don't know how they made a clip that you do not feel in your hand much at all. And I was, at that point I was wondering, is it like that for the other major brand that this brand competes with, that is Leatherman? Let's pull that out here. Beg your pardon. Let me just, okay. So I have this Leatherman Charge, and I was wondering about whether I feel this clip, and that too you wouldn't feel actually. As far as feeling just a clip goes on your palm, you won't feel it. There are lots of hotspots relative to any tool from Victorinox. On Leatherman tools, there are lots of hotspots, but that's a different matter. So Victorinox have done a commendable job, but in some ways this is better, and that is, although it doesn't impact functionality, honestly, this clip works for the most part, and it has this particular clip from Leatherman is a deeper carry. It's so that's better about this, but it's a bit loose. it's kind of fitted into the slot where the regular tools go, and this isn't at all, not even a little bit. It's like bloody excellent, very tight, feels good. So if you have this tool and you can get this clip, go ahead and get it. The same applies for this one too. I'll come to it in a minute. Okay. There is one disadvantage to this clip, and I'll speak about that later. But as far as the form and function goes, if you get a good piece, is excellent. I'll tell you why I said get a good piece. As you can see, I bought every one of the clips that Victorinox released, both in chrome and black oxide. I think that is black oxide if it's not paint. And I discovered a problem in there. That's what I'm going to discuss in this video in future. So, very tight, very good, take it. Now, that's the first pro. The second pro is, now, I have not seen anybody else mention this on the internet, but I noticed something. This particular Swiss tool that I have is an older purchase. Now, something that I'd always noticed with, one of the differences I'd noticed between the Swiss tool and the Swiss tool Spirit was this. On the Swiss tool, the tools don't lock as tightly as it does in the Swiss tool Spirit. Let's get a better example. The knife on this one is quite good, actually. Okay, so as you can see, the saw has some play even after it locks. Now, that's completely okay. It doesn't impact the function of the tool. Really, it doesn't matter at all, but it is there. Now, I have always seen that bit of play after the lock, after it's been locked in place, open, in the Swiss tool, but never in the Swiss tool Spirit. It's one of the things that's much better about the Swiss tool Spirit. There are other things that are better, but this is one of the things. Swiss tool Spirit locks really tight. It has no play at all. Every single Swiss tool Spirit I have had, and I think I have at least 3 Swiss tool Spirits on my person just now in my home. There's one more with that I purchased at a friend's home. So I own 4 Swiss tool Spirits. The 3 of them that I've examined myself, they lock really tight. This was not the case in the past with the Swiss tool. However, I purchased another Swiss tool. No, I wanted to start using this one more regularly, and as they say, as one of you told me on Reddit, one to rock, the other to stock. So I wanted one in my stock, one that I wouldn't use. And there was one key difference I noticed in that one. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. This is a newer one I bought just to keep in my collection. And something I noticed about the new Swiss tool, it locks extremely tight, just like the Swiss tool Spirit. This was never the case before. I have 3 or 4 Swiss tools, and I've had 3 or 4, and it's only the latest Swiss tool that has this thing going. It is really tight. Like and this was so that's a quality improvement that Victorinox has done on their Swiss tools. Like the Spirit, they're locking really tight. There is a tiny amount of play in the saw, but much lesser. So it looks like they've changed something. Something is different, and the tools are tighter. Now, my viewers, those of you that are watching this channel, can tell me if I am right, if you've noticed this too, especially the collectors who have the older Swiss tool and the newer one. Both of them are exactly the same model, but the newer ones, I am saying, actually are tighter. Now let's see, I also bought the Swiss tool MXBS, right? And there's the one hand opening. I'll talk about that in a minute, but let's see if it is as tight as the other new one and this too is quite tight, very unlike my old Swiss tool, right? Let's open okay, let's say we're going with the metal file. We'll close the the wood saw here. We'll open the metal file here. There's definitely some play on the older Swiss tool, but the newer one, no, there is no play. It's a thing. They've done that. They've fixed that. Now, I suspect it will develop some play and go back to the way the older Swiss tools come in the packaging with use. I say that because I think I managed to loosen at least somewhat in one of the newer Chrome Swiss tool a little bit. I think I did. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But I've not used the newer Swiss tools I have. I don't intend to use them. They're part of my collection, so I don't know. But they've made a quality improvement. So that's a pro. That's a second pro. The first pro is superb clip. The second pro is on the Swiss tool is the locking mechanism is tighter and better. So good on Victorinox for doing that. Okay, let's put this back in its place so I don't confuse myself. For those of you that are wondering, I have these full of Victorinox items right around the camera. Okay, all right, let's get, now let's talk about the next ticket item is the Swiss tool MXBS. When I got it for the first time, as you may have seen in my first impressions video, I thought this was quite tight to open at the beginning, but it is much better and looser now. I have oiled it, but it got looser even before that. And when I oiled it, it became looser. This is to be expected with black oxide tools. However, it is not as tight as the black oxide Surge. And the black oxide work on this is better, although it's still a little bit shiny, and the Surge has a matte black finish. So if you're in the military or really don't want your tool to not shine, Leatherman black oxide may do a better job of not shining in the light. Having said that, even though this shines more than the Leatherman black oxide models, you will have a lot less of the black residue on your fingers when you get the tool brand new. Very, very little. You have it a lot more in the Surge. My God, I have to learn to keep the tool in the frame. It opens a lot better with one hand. This to open the rescue blade was harder for me because I'm right-handed, but I've gotten a lot better with it. If I keep repeating this movement, my fingers get tired, the one that I use to open this, and then I open it a lot less efficiently. But the first time I tried, after some time, it comes out really well. Now, the other upside, for me at least, now some US Americans will not agree with this probably, is that it does not open the way a tool that's also meant to be a weapon might. So it opens more slowly. It opens more slowly or less menacingly, if I may say that, than Leatherman products, for example. This guy, this is a very good-looking tool in my opinion, especially in the kit that I've put together. It looks like, to me, like a Mel Gibson movie, honestly. But this opens a lot smoother and faster. And I've seen people who are used to it open this a lot smoother and faster than I am right now in this video. I'm a larger person for my race and generation in my country. If I go to a place and I open a blade that looks like this, it will make many people uncomfortable. The objective of multi-tools in my mind is to be helpful, to seem helpful, and for people to feel safe and secure around me, and like I'll help them with problems that they have. So I prefer not to have tools that open this fast and may scare people. Although a blade is extremely essential, and this one opens a little less menacingly in my opinion. This is why, and because I don't, for the same reason I mentioned earlier about seeming helpful, I prefer this blade, because one cannot reasonably stab with this. It may be perceived, somewhat incorrectly actually, that as less dangerous. Actually, this is almost as dangerous, if not as dangerous, because the blade is extremely sharp and you can still cut with whatever little point you have here. And if you use this against other humans, which you should never, because these are not meant to be weapons. Actually, when it comes to the sciences of bladed weapons, multi-tool blades are actually not very good and not very well balanced for the purposes of combat. Of course, if you need to use it, ideally you should not be in a situation where you need to use a blade, but you need to use it, whatever you have in your hand, even a pencil, especially if you're John Wick, will be useful. But so coming back to the point, this, what we some people call a butter blade, if I'm not wrong, people may perceive as less dangerous, and so I often prefer to carry this. The only reason I'm not carrying it just now is because I feel that the Swiss tool Spirit is a little small for my hand, and I prefer the Swiss tool in its place. I may be wrong about this assumption, honestly. We'll see. Anyway, so the next pro is of the Swiss tool, MXBS. Very good execution of the one-hand opening blades. Adequately good, not very good. If you hold a tool like this does jut out a little bit, but you get used to it. You adjust the way you hold it a little bit, and you almost don't notice this. So do not be dissuaded by these tabs. You get used to them. Admittedly, though, when it comes to one-hand opening implementation, as far as the one-hand bit goes, I think this implementation is better in some ways. I'm not sure. I think the only argument for this implementation might be if you're wearing thick gloves and you're in a very cold environment. I'm not sure if this will be, this may be better, I don't know. Those of you that work with very thick gloves or have worked with thick gloves, especially those that are not skilled with working with multi-tools, those are the ones who can give the best answer to this question as to, is this implementation better? Anyway, it looks like the Australian Army has picked this up from Victorinox, and that's why I think, it seems to me, I'm not sure, they started producing these for the Australian Army, this particular design. But I could be wrong about that. I'm just assuming that, putting two and two together from a few sources. That's not an official news story from anywhere. So if I'm wrong, do correct me in the comments. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the pros and cons of the Swiss tool. Now, there is a con of the Swiss tool, but the same as a con that you have in the Swiss tool Spirit, so I'll come to that a little later. When it comes to the pros of the Swiss tool, first of all, the Swiss tool is a brilliant, beautiful piece of art, honestly. Let me show you what it looks like. Those of you that don't know, what it looks like without the clip. Okay, let's pick one of the, I have a couple here. This is what it looks like without the clip. A beautiful piece of, like, artistic, extremely well designed, extremely well made, very aesthetic, extremely ergonomic. Like, they absolutely outdid themselves. This is probably the best designed multi-tool in the world currently, according to me. There are reasons for picking something like this up. Even though I think this is better, there are some advantages something like this brings in, especially for people who work with their hands, but for people who use multi-tools for when you don't have any other tools or are amateurs, which is most people, this would be highly recommended. Absolutely beautiful. Now, the pro here is, with this clip, Victorinox has absolutely outdone themselves. It is absolutely fantastic. I cannot tell you how good it is. This bloody fixes everything. Forgive my language. It's beautiful. Perfect. And this is despite the fact that they've essentially modified this product. And usually modifications on something that is not original, or adding something that's not originally designed for it, does not do a better job than the original, but it's barely noticeable this time. Now, that's the next pro. So good job on that. Here is the. Just a moment. Let me look at my list again. Okay, now let me come to the cons, especially when it comes to this clip. There is a a manufacturing and a workmanship flaw, not a design flaw, a workmanship flaw that can be fixed. And it's a bit of an oddity. And that's this piece. Let me see, where is it? Okay. This is the original Swiss Tool Spirit MX clip. So this is a version of the Swiss Tool Spirit that comes with the one-hand opening blade. All the tools are the same. It doesn't have a second blade like this one does. And obviously it's not black. And it comes with the clip. Now, it's important to note that this, and remember this is a big ticket item, one of the big ticket items in this video. The Swiss Tool Spirit that does not come with the clip, on which you attach the clip, is not quite the same as a Swiss Tool Spirit MX clip that comes with the clip, or even maybe the Swiss Tool Spirit MX, I don't know. I just bought the MX clip. And I'll tell you what the differences are. The one big difference is, let me demonstrate. This is the MX clip. How you remember that is using the, look at the one-hand opening tab here, right? Now, when you open this, this is something that the YouTuber called Engineer's Perspective brought to my attention. You can see that the tool closes fully. I don't need to do anything about it. I used to wonder why they changed the placement of the tools on the Swiss Tool Spirit that comes with a one-hand opening blade. I used to wonder that. And I think I found the answer. The answer is, on this piece, it closes fully. But on the Swiss Tool Spirit, on which I have attached this clip that is designed for this particular model, there is this difference. It does not close fully on its own. There. Now, as the person from Engineer's Perspective noted, it takes very little pressure to close it. And he said it's exactly 600 grams of pressure, which is very little. I can't think of anybody who will not be able to do that. In fact, under some circumstances, this may be useful if you're working with very small items and you're working with it like, say, chopsticks, that it pushes open on its own and you want to pick up a pin or something. It may actually be useful. But that's something to note. The Swiss Tool Spirit and the Swiss Tool Spirit MX or the MX Clip are not the same. So MX or MX Clip are on one side and Swiss Tool Spirit is on the other side. Okay? And what pushes it open is where the clip juts out in between the two handles there. And I'll have to get a verniers caliper to measure the differences, but I think there is a difference in the dimensions of these two products. That's what it looks like to me. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera. Those of you that are better at measuring, engineers or technicians of some sort, you can tell me what the differences in the dimensions are. I haven't had the patience to open it up and take out the clips and measure them. Maybe I will in future posts on Reddit. That's con number one. It's not really a con. It doesn't matter. Now, the bigger, worse con about this clip is a workmanship defect that I told you. Now, what I told you just now is by design. It's not the workmanship defect, but the workmanship defect is coming up now, and it is this. This particular screw that comes with, let me get it to focus, that attaches the, how do I get it to focus? Focus, silly thing. Ah, there you go. This particular screw that attaches the clip to this tool has a problem. There was a point when I was wondering if now for you to attach this clip, you get this particular Allen key with it inside it. And I was wondering if there are, Victorinox has products with Allen key bits, and I was wondering if they will fit in there too. So there was a time when I originally, the first clip I had was when I bought the MX clip. These hadn't been delivered yet. And I wondered if one of these Allen key bits will fit on the screw head in that comes with the clip, and the answer is yes, it does. I think this is the one. It does fit. So I opened it using this, then I tightened it, and when I tightened it, what happened was, and it's very strange, the screw head separated from the rest of the screw. That's the head of the screw. And what does that screw look like? Let me show you. This is how the clip comes. That's the screw. You can see that? That's a screw right there. There you go. And when I tightened this screw too much, the damn thing separated from the rest of the screw. And I was like, what the hell? And that happened with my MX clip. So I contacted Victorinox India, and they are going to find a fix for it. And I was wondering what when I was talking to them, I told them to send me another screw. I didn't want to send the whole tool in, and they're figuring it out. The service in India is, honestly, I have to say, it's less than stellar. That's because these tools are sold very sparingly in India, so they're not very good with service. So after I lost this, the rest of this screw that originally came with this tool, and this clip could no longer be attached, it came off, I didn't know what to do. And then I measured the size of this hole into which the screw goes, and I discovered that there are screws of such type in the world. Now, mind you, this is these are laptop screws, and I bought this online. After measuring this, I started looking for it and googling it, and I found that these are there are screws that are laptop screws that come in the specifications that match screws like this. So I figured out that these are actually 2.5 mm width. The threaded section is 2.5 mm, and ideally you should get 2.5 so it says cm 2.5 into 4 here. Ideally you should get cm 2.5 into 3, or maybe even cm 2.5 into 2.5. But I went with the smallest one with 2.5 I had was 2.5 is the diameter. The smallest one I had was, or the circumference, I don't know, was 2.5 into 4 is what it looks like. This is a packet, and I used that to attach this clip. Now, this particular fix is quite normal, it's quite simple, it's very easy to do. But there's a problem. Like I said, it was the screw is a bit too long, so I had to file it down using one of my Victorinox metal files on my Victorinox Ranger. I had to file this down so that it did not jut out or stick out too much. But with that, I've managed to fix the clip back. This is not the original fix. I should get the original screw, but I haven't gotten that yet from Victorinox India. So I looked up their website, victorinox.com, where these pieces are sold, and in the reviews, there was a German review and I think a French review or an Italian review too. So reviews in 2 languages. And there are others who've complained about the same problem with the screw. Now, that's the warning for all of you. This particular screw is not very good quality. Now, how you avoid this from happening to you, as I have with this tool, as well as with this one, how you avoid that happening to you, as you can see, it still has the original screw here and the original screw here, is don't tighten it too much. Once you feel tension when you're screwing it on, stop. Okay, so there you go. So that's the big con with the screw that comes with the clip that comes for the Swiss tools. And that's the same con we have possibly with the when you fix the clip on the Swiss tool as well. Now, interestingly, as in the Swiss tool, I told you that the jaws stay apart in the Swiss tool Spirit when you attach the clip, but it is non-intrusive, it's completely okay, it's still quite good. That does not happen with the Swiss tool. This clip, again, it's aftermarket, and but it's from the same brand, and no problem. So I think it's the execution is quite good. That's the big thing everybody needs to be careful about. Be careful about how tight you wind this particular screw when you are attaching it to any of your tools that you already have. And if you're buying this tool for the first time and you want the one-hand opening as well, it may be worthwhile to go for this one. One of the con is this. It's really, again, this blade is quite tight, but I think that helps me because what will happen is it'll not look like a weapon, and that's good for me in my books. But that's not, it's probably not how many of you may feel, so that's really up to you. Let me see in my notes if there's anything else. Okay, there are 3 more things I need to cover. Point number 1. This is the sheath, and it's a brand new sheath from Victorinox that we get with the Swiss tool MXBS. Now, this is what the sheath looks like. Those of you that want to know more about it, here is what it is. Somebody asked me if it can be carried horizontally, and the answer is yes. Like, there is space here, and it goes in all the way. But it's kind of tight, so, you know, if you wear a narrow belt, only then will you be able to slip it in there. It comes with a molly attachment, and it has this thing where you have this little ribbon that's attached to the molly attachment. I assume it's to pull it out. I don't know what this is for. I've never seen this before with any molly attachments. It's nylon, it's good quality, it fits the Swiss tool MXBS. Point number 2. Usually in most sheets that come with that come for Victorinox Swiss tools, you cannot easily fit it in the sheet if you've affixed a clip to it. But I think that's the way it's supposed to be. The reason for that is if you are carrying it in a sheath, I guess you don't need a clip. If you're carrying it with a clip, you will keep it in your pocket. When you buy the Swiss tool Spirit MX, it will come in a blister pack with no sheath. So a sheath does not come with it. But I have this leather sheath for my original Swiss tool Spirit, and I realized that the MX won't fit in there this way. But the leather has, like leather always does, kind of taken the shape of the tool, and if I try really hard, I can still push that in there. But it's not as easy to pull out as I'd like it to be, as it is when it's just this guy, as you can see. So there's that. However, this particular nylon sheath, I think will accept it. It does accept it with the thumb studs or whatever, those tabs. Let's see if we can fit it with the clip. well, it fits like that, which is not ideal because you reduce the amount of Velcro available to you. And then you can try to move this out of the way, but it's a bit fidgety. So sheath and so that's a downside over Leatherman, I guess. Okay, you can fit it, but not as easily. The second thing I want to bring up is there's a YouTuber called Roy Edwards who has demonstrated how to solve a big problem that many of us have felt with this particular scissor. Many of us have thought it doesn't open too much. So what the man did is, I'll put a link to his video. He plopped the spring out, filed this head down a little bit, just a tad bit, then plopped it back in there without actually taking the spring out. He just kind of got it out of its groove right here with a blade, and then filed that head of the spring or this bar, so that, and then he put it back in there. So then this scissor, these scissors open slightly wider, which is better than how much it opens now. It's not as good, obviously, as these scissors. These are much better, but it's still quite nice. Now, but he did notice that after he made that mod, every time he closed it, he could not just close it just like that. He had to push it in and close the scissors and then push it in there, else it wouldn't close, because this was lying open wider as a result of his mod. So there's that I wanted to bring to your attention. The next thing and the last thing I want to talk about is there is this video by this Japanese YouTuber who does nothing but sit outside in a picturesque place with a beautiful wooden table, plants in the background, and opens each tool and shows its use. He doesn't speak. And because of the beautiful schnick sound, or the click sound that these tools have, it to me, it was a little bit like ASMR. So like, just that. So, and his sound system is excellent, much better than mine. So for those of us multi-tool nerds out there, that may be a fun, relaxing video to watch, just to hear the click, schnick, schnick of the tool on a very good microphone. That's it from me today. This has been a very long video, it's 40 minutes nearly. I'm going to edit it down and trim it down if I can. Leave your comments in there. I'm not in the best state of mind to make this video, is why it's so long. One of the reasons for it is there are things going on that I'm trying to resolve at my work front. Let's see how those pan out. I'm going to end this video with showing you how I affix the clip on this tool. Oh, one more thing while I'm doing this. The clip for the Swiss tool Spirit is different from the clip for the Swiss tool. I hope you gathered that. The dimensions are different, the size is different, the shape is different. So do not confuse the two. Maybe it was a mistake to talk about doing this on camera. It'll take too long. This video is too long in any case. Okay, I managed to get it done. Again, do not tighten it too much. When you feel the tension, stop. Otherwise, now the fix for, by the way, Victorinox have told me that not all pieces have this problem. Not everybody is facing this issue with the screw head separating from the rest of the screw. So it looks like they're already aware of it and they are fixing it. So, and they've already implemented some fixes for it. Or they are pulling faulty stocks out of the market, or something like that. Basically, not all of them have this problem. So be assured that there's a chance that by the time you're watching this video, you may not be getting this problem. And if you are going to purchase the clip for an existing tool, after watching this video, ensure you don't rotate it too tight so this doesn't happen to you, as it did to me. I didn't know it would happen. There you go, I've fixed that. It was that easy, and the clip is fixed. By the way, just one last note. The clip is very tightly fixed on the Swiss tool. On the Swiss tool Spirit, because of the design, there is a tiny amount of play, but it's fixed so well due to the shape and indentation. It does not actually affect the joint. The play is here, and that play is also there in the MX. It may be by design. One last note: the Swiss tool has a wire crimper. Where is my Swiss tool? Oh yeah, there it is. The Swiss tool has a wire crimper here, and I've demonstrated the use of it in my Reddit profile. That is not impacted, seemingly, it seems to me, from the clip attached. So the wire crimper is right here. You can actually crimp. I have done that. It works. It is not impacted by this clip. Just FYI. That's it. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody. I hope this was useful.